Hello, friends and dear professionals. We are on live, and our guest is Colonel Naresh Malhan. He is a graduate from National Defence Academy and was commissioned into Corps of EME in 1967. In the Army, he did his BTech first class with distinction and MTech from IIT Delhi, where he was the topper with the CGPA of 9.97 and attained first class with honors. He has been an instructor and faculty of industrial engineering and tactics at MCEME, where he taught middle and higher management development courses. He has been an ace shooter, good golfer, and also participated in Himalayan Car Rallies. After 22 years in the Army, Colonel Naresh Malhan took premature retirement and joined as CEO of Punjab Breweries, UB Group, and CDBL Meerut and Haryana Breweries, Wallace Group of Companies. He was also executive director of Niky, Tasha, and Escorts Group Companies before joining AP Securitas, where he is currently working as President Corporate Affairs. Col Malhan, welcome you to our discussion, and let me share with our viewers that having seen both sides of the table, security service taker as a corporate head and provider of security services as part of reputable private security company AP Securitas, coupled with his vast experience in armed forces, Colonel Malhan is eminently suitable to talk on the subject leadership challenges for security chiefs. Colonel Malhan, it is my pleasure, and I feel honored to be in position where I can welcome you for a discussion, very important subject which every security professionals must understand and realize the importance of the subject, because a security professional who has just started today must aspire and must have ambition to look up and go to a position where he would be the chief, he would be the decision maker, he would be the policy maker, the one who is calling the shot. And you are going to share your thoughts, your ideas, your vision, and your experience, how security chiefs would face challenges and how to surmount those challenges, how to come to terms those difficulties and solve the problems. So, Manan sir,
Thank
what are the
you.
challenges chiefs face?
Uh, Thank you, Captain Tyagi, and good evening, everyone who's on this show. There are many challenges which confront a security chief today. Today, we are going to discuss some of these challenges. Security, as you all would agree, isn't receiving its rightful place under the corporate or the organizational sun. It tends to get viewed purely as the responsibility of only the chief security officer. Therefore, to my mind, the biggest challenge facing the CSO is how to create this rightful place for the security function in the organization. And some ideas that I have in this is you can do it in the following ways. First is by your persona, in the sense by your professionalism, the knowledge, qualification, and the certification that you have. Two, by performance, the way you perform your task. Third, by your conduct, especially during moments of crisis. An excellent example would be Corona. Now, Corona hit us like nobody else knew what was happening. And security, fortunately, has come out trumps because they were the guys who held on to their jobs. We were the people who kept on performing and did not abandon. Everybody was working from home, but we were there guarding and doing the job, constantly not knowing what is going to happen, But we only knew one thing, that the show has to go on. I think the performance of security during COVID has earned it a lot of recognition, respect, and also adulation. And I think that's been a very, very healthy sign. Then would be the relationships that you build. The relationships that you build with one, your own team, how you train them, how you motivate them, and how you lead them. And two is, how do you interact with other people, the stakeholders? For example, in your organization, how you deal, what are your relationships with finance, the HR, and various functions onto that. I feel we have to be stop being myopic. What do I mean by that? I think we in the security begin to feel that our job is only to be busy in doing day to day routine work, perfunctory, what security functions are. But I would say, remember that our horizon has to be much wider. Your battlefield, please remember, has two segments: one, internal, two, external. In the internal, there are three levels: one, the higher management; two, your peers; and third, your subordinates. You have to tackle each level differently in your own way. For external environment, we have the stakeholders are your associates or the service providers. Two, the government machinery, the district administration, the police, the medical things around you. Third is local influencers or local population, the panchayat, the local MLA, and the people who are in your vicinity. Another way externally is that as CSO, we can project the corporate image. How? By taking part in various seminars, taking part in various social activities, leading corporate social responsibility acts, and become visible, projecting the image of our corporate. Now, coming to when we are tackling the top management or people who are senior to us, some points that can be kept in mind. First, make security visible and relevant. That means design an all encompassing security, have fantastic standard operating procedures, processes, etc., and emergency response plans. I would like to just mention, say, for example, 2611, when Bombay was under siege. What happened in Taj? The NSG went inside not knowing what it was. They were almost blindfolded when they went inside. But imagine if the Taj security had the layout available to the responders in the form of the layout of each floor, how many doors are there, how many rooms on each floor, etc., and available online at the crisis management center. Now, this is possible. The layout of the electricity, the layout of the air conditioning, etc. Today, and what are the means when there's a fire? Can we tell the people who have come to fight the fire what is the security plan of my building? How much of water do I have? Where should the fire tender come and sort of park itself so that it can immediately refill and refuel themselves with water from the building which is holding so much of thousands of liters? What is the water available in the vicinity, in the neighboring buildings? So, if we have plans like that ready to meet these emergencies, then I think we would be in a much better position. So design an all-encompassing plan. Your plan has to be very good. Your SOPs and your knowledge bank available has to be ready. Two, have state-of-the-art security. Imbibe the developments which are taking place. Technology is changing by the minute. We got to stay abreast with that and incorporate the latest that there is. But this a little later on this, how to be careful and guarded. You don't have to be blindly getting the latest, but effectively be in touch with the technology changes. Third, conduct training and create awareness on security and safety in your organization. You can do this because private security agencies who come to your site are actually conducting training on, say, fighting fire, first aid, and various other issues are being tackled by them. If you utilize these people, encourage them, then they can do corporate kind of training for your people. And normally they would be just doing it free, but they are bringing about this awareness in your organization, and hence the security function in your organization. Your performance can go up very, very high. A lot of corporates are utilizing opportunities of our training team to do corporate training for their team as well, on fighting fires, evacuation drills, and first aid, etc. Then would be organized events so that you become visible. The events can be Security Awareness Week, reward and recognition ceremony, wherein your top management comes, gives an award, feels good, they are given the importance, yet at the same time you move center stage. Then would be another way is issue or disseminate various advisories. For example, when COVID came, what can you do? If Diwali is coming, you can issue advisories that how should you celebrate Diwali and how you can be careful. How can you take care of security of your children who are going to school because now the schools are opening up. So these advisories are being given and are available from the good private security agencies, but you should also issue to your people so that they say that yes, here is a security chief who is interested in guiding us and advising us from time to time on issues of relevance and importance. Another very, very important function which will move you center stage is gathering what in the army we call it as gathering intelligence. That means information on union activities. What are the workers, what are the leaders up to? What are they planning? What do you feel is likely to take place? And if you have created an infrastructure on intelligence and you feed this information to the management, obviously they would value you because then you will become much more relevant to them. Then there are issues which are normally ongoing day to day activities which are taking place on which you can make a mark, provided you are aware that I got to do something on this. For example, visibility, visitors management. See, a visitor to any organization, the first contact he comes up with security. If with the way you greet him, the way you conduct him, the way your people greet, train, and guide them and show them around, you will create a tremendous impact. So the management also realizes that you are adding value to the organization. The second would be car parking. If your car parking is efficient and you have people who are being guided, escorted, guided to park this thing better, checking that the cars are now locked, and you say, sir, have a nice way or guide him. I think those things make a lot of impact and difference. Everybody say, wow, the security here in this organization is something worth noticing. Then there are special moments. There are special occasions like there is board meetings, there is annual general body meeting, there are Republic Day functions, residing functions. At that time, security must appear to be visible and project the image of efficiency, and entire organization should value that yes, here is a good team at work. Then is prevent pilferage in incoming and outgoing materials. We all know there are ustadi nuskhas. There are skills of each trade. For example, how to stop pilferage in sort of, let's take it that e-commerce site in their fulfillment centers will have a strict of the trade, which you got to know. It could be in the hospitality, the requirements would be different. Today, I'm going to talk a little, just about three or four instances to illustrate and drive home the point in a manufacturing or industry where I have a tremendous amount of personal experience. One, there is an incoming material, namely furnace oil, diesel, etc. There's a tremendous amount of shortages which come into that. Security is always told to go and ensure that the right quantity has come in because that's money. Now we send a guard who becomes part of the game, but please change him to get a receipt. Today, computerized printouts are available. Ensure that you are getting the right quantity. Insist that we should have flow meters. Why must I measure and guess that this much of fuel has come? If you use it and flow it onto that would be one. Then is track and monitor returnables. Lot of items like huge motors, etc., go out for repairs. Nobody follows them up. And gradually, they just say if nobody is checking for, say, 1 week, 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 1 year, it's gone. But if, as a security head, you are ensuring that this trackable thing went on this date, has it come out? Yes or no? And if it doesn't come, you highlight where is it? Why hasn't it returned? Would make a tremendous amount of impact. And management will say, wow, I have a security which is contributing to my and is strengthening my arms and preventing pilferages. Scrap disposal. This is an activity, it's considered as junk, but maximum amount of pilferages, etc., take place when scrap is going away. In that goes some very, very good stuff also. And you got to be extra cautious, extra aware, and extra vigilant, and train your team to say how scrap has to be ensured that only the right things are going away. We also know that people carry things on their person, which is routine check onto that, which has to be done. Two more things that I will add to that, which are not commonly known. Generator sets. In most of the corporate houses today, gen sets are actually being used to have a power backup. Now, this is actually a lot of pilferages are taking place on that because all they say is it was used for so many hours. And it is just recorded on a piece of paper. So much of liters came in, so much has come in, so much has been consumed. But we in our organization had developed an app which tells you to an organization that these are they cannot tamper proof systems are put onto the generator sets, how much of fuel has come in and loaded, how much has been made available, how much of fuel is actually being utilized and burnt by the engine, all is available. So what you have is the record of entire things wherever your sites are on your dashboard. You get to know how many sets have been used from what time to what time. The usage is known, the fuel used is known, how much KPL is known, so that you can have such a tight control. The organizations which have used this app of ours have gained to the extent of 40%. Can you believe that? 40% for the taking. So hence these kind of things, if you can prevent, it will mean a lot. Similarly, each organization has a lot of cars, fleets, trucks, etc. And a lot of pilferages take place. The usage is not recorded correctly. The KPL is not done. Repairs are not effected. So the reports, returns, etc. have to be prepared by the people who are responsible. But if you show interest and say, okay, I take a lead in stopping pilferages and saving money to the organization, you are moving center stage. So keep that in mind. These were a few tips, and every line will have its own tricks of the trade or what is known as Ustadi Nuskas. Next is your staff work. Your staff work has to be meticulous. Your documentation, your personal details, your bills, your expenses have to be done. Second, collect and compile data. Incident reporting. Whenever an incident takes place, please record it related to security, compile the data, analyze it, see the trends, see what remedial actions are being taken. And if you do that, obviously everybody is going to sit up and notice that here is a man who's on the ball, so to say. So this is what I feel is ongoing as far as your performance is concerned, how to move center stage into your organization. The next would be the challenge which every security officer today faces is how to choose a private security agency. It's common knowledge today that most of the security personnel are obtained from or outsourced to a private security agency. Now, most of the time, this is done by procurement department, and they go for what is known as L1. But you are always an important member of this committee when you're selecting a private security agency. Now, if you know as an important member of this committee which is going to select a private security agency, because on the performance of this agency depends the performance of your security function. So it's very, very important for you to get the right type of associates in this line. Few tips that I would share with you, which can be kept in mind with you, is please define the quality requirements. Please define the SLAs, which are the agreements which are there. To check compliances today, that's a very big thing. What is the track record of the private security agency as far as the compliances are concerned? Ask them searching questions as to how do you arrange that you are always compliant, not today but always. What are your systems, what are your procedures, what automation have you done, what softwares do you have? Show me the reports returns, make a check, ask a cross check from various people where they're performing, and make sure that what you get is a compliant industry, because if they are non-compliant, you all are going to get into very, very serious trouble. Next point, training. What is their organization for training? Their own people and training people on site. Do they issue a calendar? What is the faculty like? Do they have a record? Do they submit reports and returns? Do they work on your feedback? If you ask the question, you will get to know, and you can distinguish between a good agency and not so good one. Then you can ask, show me and share with me certain training modules which will give you an idea of the depth of knowledge this organization has got inbuilt with them available. So, specific to each industry, do they have specialized modules, or are they only talking about Pasara training and a certification? No. But if you see that they are having a manufacturing, a banking industry, hospitality, schools, and to your industry, it makes a lot of difference. You can easily gauge the strength which is built up into this private security agency. Also ask questions on what is the billing methodology? How do they prepare the bill? How do they collect the data? How do they perform it? Do they have system processes? What are the things onto that will give you an idea of how efficiently that organization is being run. Next point, responsiveness. How responsive are they to their clients? Each organization has today. Are they creating WhatsApp group so that all information is shared and all action crisis is resolved at the earliest and the shortest way? You can ask them, what is the standard of supervision of the site other than those who are employed there? Field officers, when do they visit? Do you have reports and returns? Do you verify it? Do you have GPS based systems onto that? You can gauge that this organization is good. Cost comes secondary, but the performance is something, because that will decide your performance. Another would be, you see, escalation matrix. What is the escalation matrix? To what level are they giving you access? Can you go right up to the top, or would you be dealing only with the field officer or branch manager? Can you raise the level? It will tell you those who are confident and comfortable will say, ring me up any time of the day, anyone, anytime, right up to the top boss. So then you know that they are so sure of their systems and processes. Review meetings. What is the pattern? See the reports they give after they've done the review and how they track escalations, how do they sort of resolve issues which are done onto that. It'll give you an idea. Also see, do they have the strength built up in them to scale up the operations? Enhance it by say 100 people more, or drop down as COVID came about. Can they absorb these fluctuations onto that? Will invariably get you onto this. Check again. Do they have a command center? Do they have emergency response teams? Who all are they providing this on to? What are the technical level? Are they issuing advisories every month, every day on relevant topics, which you can also use and then send it to your team? So this would give you an idea. Now, all this is very fine. You have all the right to demand and spell out what you need, pull them over the rakes, but remember, you also owe two things to them. One, please treat them with respect. Treat them as associates. Treat them as part of you. And second, please ensure that they are paid on time, because that is where everything depends. So, your responsibility to your associate, demand what you want, but also please pay them on time. The third challenge, which I feel could be of interest to all of you, would be inducting technology. Every organization is buying surveillance equipment and various softwares, etc., for security functions. New products today are coming in the market. Technology is changing, as I said earlier, by the minute. They incorporate the latest in technology. But obviously, when you do that, the costs tend to go up. Now, what we should choose is we also should know, can we utilize the new features which it is sort of providing us, this technology? It is well established that 70% of the facilities or features available in any modern gadget are not used by us at all. So, what we got to do is choose the optimum, select the right thing which is cost effective, meets your requirement, and gives you the best bang for your buck. When you do select and buy the technology, ensure two more things: create adequate and appropriate infrastructure, have adequate backups available, power backup, recordings, etc. Also, ensure that you have good and suitable analytics, because you have so much of data, but can you utilize this data? Can you analyze it? So, analytics also must be obtained onto that. Also, go a step ahead. What is the maintenance? How do they ensure? Is it going to be annual maintenance contract? If they are, yes, what are the terms? What does it involve? Get into the depth. Also, see, would they provide you on the job training for your people so that they become comfortable with this technology? And after you have bought technology and you've installed it, please also plan, in which most of the people miss out, is how would I respond to an alert when I receive one? What is my way of reacting to a fire alarm or anything which goes up? So emergency response plans have to be there in your place, and make sure that that is there. Next challenge is how to stay abreast with the latest developments and enhance your professional knowledge. I think this is very, very important, because one is you obtain formal qualifications or go in for certifications, very fine. But more important is swa adhyan, your continuous self learning. Now, this is very important. You got to have the right mindset and the attitude to learn. You have a positive attitude to improve, to embrace technology and new ways of working. And this is very important. So, develop the right mindset. I was reading a very interesting book very recently, just about 3 days back, and I will share it with you. It teaches that when you learn, how do you learn? There is something we have all heard of, 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, but it came to me as a shocker that there's a rule called 70-20-10 rule. What does it say? 10% of your knowledge you acquire in the form of formal training that you obtain, a course that you attend, a certification that you obtain. 10%. 20% is what you are guided by your people or the mentors who guide you or the coach who guides you. But 70% of your knowledge you acquire is from a new term which I heard for the first time, was from the flow of work. When you are working, so much is happening around you. That is the time, if you have your eyes and ears open, if you are inquisitive, if you are keen to know what is happening and what is going around, you learn. On the job is just a word, it's not a word. You're keeping your alert, you're learning what is happening in the finance, what is happening in the marketing, what is happening into the maintenance, what is happening with the production, what are the developments taking place. So if you are in the work, this experience that you gather would be 70% of the knowledge that you acquire. And hence, please be aware, flow, teach yourself, equip yourself with the flow of work and acquire the knowledge constantly. Next is go onto the internet. We have Google, YouTube, apps. We have augmented and virtual reality and whatnot. In fact, today there's a surfeit, an overload of information today. But what we need is curating the content. What is it that I must know and what I should focus on? So there is abundant knowledge. Sit with yourself or with your peers or with the people that you respect and interact and learn what would be the best way to curate the abundant knowledge that is going around me and teach yourself onto that. Next would be listen to the publications and courses and information which are flowing from various institutions like ASIS, CAPSI, ICI, SSI, etc. Do the case studies, whatever is happening onto that, be aware onto that. All this is known, all this I have already shared. One more thing which I'll add, which most of the people miss out. Always listen to those vendors who come to your premises to sell their product or their services. They are bringing to you, to your doorstep, knowledge, information which you otherwise may never ever get. And they will tell you what is available in the market. They can help you in finding out what is going wrong or what are the shortcomings in your organization. They can also identify the areas and how to improve your security level. So it's important that you pay attention to them, be listening to them. Maybe 80% of they say may not make sense, but that vital 5% or 10% would be really something. It's coming to your doorsteps. So patiently listen to them, build a good relationship onto that. Second thing which I feel is very important is your interpersonal skills. You always have to work at improving and enhancing your communication skills. You always have to work at improving and enhancing your communication skills, both verbal as well as in writing. Second thing which I feel is very important is your interpersonal skills, then your leadership qualities. These are perennial all the time onto that. So this would be very, very good for you. And in the end, I think the spectrum of the leadership challenges which face the chief security officer today is vast, immensely huge. And then, interestingly, it is also dynamic and is ever changing. It is simply not possible to cover all that in totality. For example, I know for sure certain aspects are not covered intentionally because of paucity of time. One, IT security is very important because that is something cyber crimes. How do you react in case of a hostage situation or a ransomware situation, and so many others? I have tried to restrict myself to today touching some of the things which, to my mind, are important skills, the challenges which you must address onto that. And should that they feel, if any one of you feel that there is some other aspect that needs to be touched or discussed, I will be simply too happy to do that. So I think it's taken a long time. And with this, I would say if there are any questions, please feel free to ask. It can be interactive. I will learn from you just the way there will be some takeaways you will have for you. And I would, before I end, I would like to thank you all for giving me a patient hearing. I would like to thank Captain Tyagi and the ICISSI for giving me an opportunity to share my ideas on this very important topic of security challenges facing a security chief. Thank you.
Uh, Well, this is not over till it is over. It is not over yet. There are many questions and there are few remarks also.
Right.
Uh, in fact, I would like to add to the point you mentioned, and that was about meeting the vendors.
Right.
Once I met my relative who is a very successful medical practitioner, and before calling me for uh, writing my prescription, he called two medical representatives and he spent about 1 hour with two of them, 30 minutes each. So when I went in after that meeting, I asked first question that per patient you charge 1000 rupees consultation fees. In 1 hour, probably you could have handled six of them. So you lost 6,000 rupees to meet medical representative. And he said that it is very important part of my professional. The day I stop meeting MRs, I will be losing my grip on what is happening in the field of medicine. Similarly, this is applicable to security professionals also, especially those who are involved in making specifications, doing system tendering. Knowing their gadgets and systems is so much important for them because no one is going to do it for them. Finance
Yes.
department or procurement department is not going to make a specification, and cut and paste will take them only to a certain distance. Ultimately, as famous saying is that if you think that the technology is going to solve all your problems, then either you do not know your problems or you do not know the technologies. So meeting the vendors is so much important. So coming to question, uh, question is that we security professionals fail to make marketing of our functions. In fact, this is coming from my coursemate professional, leading to that point that the most of the board members take security as cost center. We are not taken as part of profit. Probably we fail to market our function and how successfully it can be done, sir.
If you see, I started, the major challenge is that security must get its rightful place under the corporate sun, which you're not getting. And you put it a little differently, marketing yourself. It's amounting to the same. And if you notice, the threads of my talk today was how to make sure first you got to realize that you have to do something about it. Two, there are two segments. I'm repeating, there's an internal segment, there's an external segment. In the internal, there are three levels: top management, peers, and my subordinates. I have to tackle at each level, I have to sell my function. And then I've said externally, who all are there? Your advisors are there, your service providers are there, and various people. And then I've given you how to make yourself visible and relevant in special things to top management, which I told you if you can be a executive arm, useful, becoming relevant, saving money to the organization, giving them intelligence, giving them information, organizing the functions. Let some people say good words about security. When your guy escorts a person into your enterprise, he say, wow, if he goes and tell the chairman, I must compliment you, the guy there was knowing his beans. He knew how to check me on for COVID. I'm very impressed. Look at that. You already are there up. So the entire talk, if you recall, was focused on just exactly that. I agree with you and I agree with the gentleman because I've perceived, to my mind, the biggest challenge is this: get rightful place under the sun for the security function. And all that I've spoken today was an effort in that
In
direction.
fact, sir, my efforts to get my space was with the little clever approach. If I'm
Yes.
not going to speak about myself, who is going to have kind words for me? So I started marketing the security function. Every week, we would share with all the employees that so many reports of loss of personal belongings, so many reports of personal negligence were observed, how employees were advised to take better care of their private security, personal security in office spaces, because personal security or private security in office spaces are not security department's responsibility. Taking
Absolutely.
care of their wallets, taking care of their drawers, and taking care of their computer is their problem. Security guard can probably do nothing even if he wants to. So we used to make observation, take record. We had journal diary. Someone's now we found a mobile phone. It is recorded in journal diary that mobile phone was recovered from so and so place at so and so time and so and so day. Most of the time, because employees are forgetful, they would come 3 days later and say that my mobile is missing. They would not
Absolutely.
admit that it was missing since last 3 days. They would say that I noticed that my mobile phone is missing. I just went to washroom and I found my mobile phone missing. So I used to share that look how competent we are, that today the mobile phone was missed and we recovered it 3 days back.
Absolutely. Very true.
So
Very right.
this is
I
what.
think you're very right. What you're saying, Captain Tyagi, is we cannot just say कि मुझे नहीं होता, sit back and
Hmm,
crib and curse. No, use your head. And this
hmm,
was a stimulant, and the discussion you're holding is very topical. And if you go through again, because now it is recorded, you'll get so many ideas, and you can add to that. This was just a thing, but yes, you're right. We have to earn and be recognized for what we are. COVID has done us a lot of good for that matter. Today, everybody sits up and respects COVID because we did a fabulous job. In the fact, for example, if you know, because nobody could move till security was allowed to move because of being declared essential services. Because we were allowed to move, so procurement for the organization of even wherewithal required for COVID, including the solvents, the gadgets, SpO2s, etc., were procured by us. We had to go and give dongles to various people in the house because they had to do work from home. Any messages, etc., we were the people on to be moving. And then we held on where we were. And even when the starting is taking place, we never abandoned. So, with that, management today is actually realizing in some ways every cloud has a silver lining. And I dare say, because of our performance, people have begun to recognize and appreciate the contribution which we make selflessly. They were risking their lives. They were the only one. Nobody knew. Everybody was scared for his own life. And here is a guard in the security function who was standing fast on his post just because there was the motivation provided by the management team. And he was understanding enough to say, I cannot let and desert my job. They could have done it because they were scared. They wanted to be alive. But that is where I think we have done a good job and we have started commanding a lot of respect today from the top management. But more, if you see, there are so many ideas that I've given, and more can be sort of exchanged and obtained.
Yeah, I've been often repeating myself as uh, coordinating the activities in International Council for
Yes.
Industrial Security and Safety Management. I keep on getting direct input from security chiefs and safety heads, and they keep telling with full of praises how their team coped up with the corona situation. They learned few skills. They learned few skills at greater risk, which most of the
Absolutely.
department cannot even imagine. And when posts were vacant by operation team, maintenance team, even fire and safety team members were missing in action. Security, I'm yet to get a report. We can imagine. I think December 19, we started getting first reports of Corona. Till date,
True.
I have not heard from any security chief that a guard in his team abandoned his duty post. So
True.
that is very worthy of respect and credit to security professionals. Another question I ask you, sir, I keep on seeing in LinkedIn, and security professionals very proudly claim that during the corona period they earned so many certification, online certification. So online certification became very potent tool to use the time when they had not much of physical activities. They were supposed to work from home, but then hardly any work from home can be done by security professionals. So remaining physically present in their duty workplace, they still had plenty of time and utilized by doing online certification courses. Now,
Absolutely.
uh, this you also have uh, commented about acquiring new skills and knowledge. Today,
True. You
the
see, more
effort
important is I mentioned, and that's the key word. Develop an attitude for swa adhyan, personal
sorry.
development continuously. If you have that attitude, which is right, There are so many ways to learn: formal education, certification, enhancement, and today information is available. And I like forewarned, curating the content is more important than availability, because you just type on Google and you have the world at your feet. But you're right, we got to use the professionals like your organization who's conducting courses, because they are certification available to you. You are recognized as a person who's, and when they say that you are working towards enhancing your skill, and formal education also is a very important aspect, because you realize that a guy is not sitting tight and just wasting his time. He's wanting to do self improvement, which in turn will pay off to the organization. You're seen as a much better light in case you are continuously enhancing and improving your skill sets. Definitely.
Uh, One recent incident I would like to mention to you and to our viewers. Only 3 days back, I met my ex colleagues in a party, and three, four of them said that, "Sir, we miss you." And I asked the
Yes.
question, "Do you remember me or do you miss me?" So there were, a few responses, but I was not convinced, and I contemplated later that if they are missing me, then it was my failure. And if they remember me, it was my success. Because if they miss me because I failed in succession plan and I failed in giving them right grooming and training. That's why they are missing me. And if I
Well,
was
Captain Tyagi, you are a charmer. You are a people's man. You are everybody's best friend. Okay. I miss you also, like I told you. Your WhatsApp group is active. And I mentioned
no, sir,
one. Join
I
such
would like to
WhatsApp
be
group.
remembered, not to be missed. I would like to be remembered and not to be
Well,
missed.
play of words. I take your point. You are remembered, and fondly too. I can say that for sure.
So, last question here, sir. Question is that as security professionals, is it not time to be ready to acquire skills? Because Corona has highlighted the nature of composite function between security, safety, and fire, or maybe environment and health. Because during Corona time, it was only security team which was looking after health and environment. माली भी नहीं था पानी डालने के लिए पौधों में, हॉर्टिकल्चर का देखभाल सिक्योरिटी गार्ड्स नहीं किया है। गेट पर जो काम हेल्थ वर्कर को करना चाहिए था, टेम्परेचर लेने का, सैनिटाइज करने का, वो सिक्योरिटी गार्ड कर रहे थे। तो इन वर्स्ट challenging scenario, when this work was being done by security, management has taken note, and management is, as early indications were, and I have shared in the CAPSI forum also, that security professionals as well as service providers must start thinking that opportunity has opened, and today's is going to be the new normal for many years. So we must start acquiring new skills and take security, safety, health, and environment as composite function. And to fill in the gap, security professionals who acquire few new skills like these would be the right person by the management to give more recognition, more responsibility, and career progression. Because
Absolutely.
multitasking is going to be inward. So, what are your recommendations?
I totally agree with you on this. The question is, if you are considered as a useful member of the team, your opinions matter, your contribution matters, you're saving money for the organization, you're stopping pilferages, you are enhancing the image of the organization, you're keeping abreast with the latest that is going on, you're earning an accolade from all people who are coming in contact with our organization. Obviously, you're a star and you will get your recognition. I would add to that today one thing which I mentioned, I'm going to emphasize now. Today, the cyber crime, the white collared crime is really rampant. Now, with our bent of mind on security, we go to focus on technology. We are leaving this field only to the geeks. The IT department, the CSIO, Chief Information Security Officer, is there. But today, we got to move into that field. We got to start understanding what cyber crimes are taking place. I may not be a technical geek who can write the coding or the software, but I should know how to utilize the skills available, the knowledge available, the softwares available, who to reach and consult, and sort of outsource the work, because we got to get to the depth of the situation. I'm trying to say that today, if you are actually attacking, a ransomware attack has been made onto you, who will hold the negotiations? Why must it be HR people? Why not us, who train ourselves into saying a hostage situation, how you can sort of hold negotiations? And today, if you see the security magazines of ASIS and even yours, you're covering these topics. If only I keep abreast with them, I know that I can do it. Today, for example, in the sort of e-commerce field, the crime started moving into hijacking your trucks which are carrying your cell phones. So now you begin to say that movement of these valuable goods can be used with RFID, can be tracked with GPS, and those measures are available, again can become a security function. So we got to see things are changing, and they're going to change a lot. And hence, if we are useful, if we are on the ball, if we are keen to learn, best is if we have the right attitude, it will show up. And it's the sky's the limit. We should be able to sort of grab, because they should realize here is a man who's understanding that if white collar crime has taken place or a cyber crime has taken place, the technocrats are doing it, but he's interested in going to the depth of it. He's trying to study that these are the patterns, this is how people work, who are the suspects. I would say another thing, keep an eye on your people. For example, there are guys who are habitually working on overtime. They stay up late in the night. They're always in the office on time. Watch, because they are trying to prove that they are very, very conscientious and hardworking. They are smart, and they are the guys most of the time who do the white collar crime. So if you are alert and are aware and you are inquisitive and you are having a positive attitude, you don't have to be a smart aleck that, okay, I'm a Rambo. No, you got to have the skills of getting along with people, but yet at the same time be firm, be decisive, and be useful. I think it's just attitude.
A question has come from Colonel KK Singh, though name used is only KK Singh. Since I know him personally, Colonel KK Singh, and probably you also know him. And his question is, if CSOs are genuinely concerned about security standards, why do they ignore importance of training? Your
I
response.
thought, my God, anybody who is not doing training of his people is asking for trouble. There is no way, because you see, Ramayan bhi roz padhni padti hai. Even a guard, you see, a good security services, private security agencies have a training calendar. To every corporate client, for example, AP Securitas gives a training calendar. Sir, my plan is I'm going to conduct training in your place for, say, once a fortnight or once a month. And this is the topics that I'm going to cover. And this is the way I've gone about. You have something to add or subtract. I refine that, and then I conduct the training. Then I show you the report. When I go there and I'm visible, I go with my training vans, which are specialized, made for us. It creates an impact. Everybody says, why, my God, here are the people. You see, I'll tell you, we got, because you see, a fire. If a guy is comfortable in handling a fire extinguisher, he can save the fire from going. We got from Ashoka Hotel in Bangalore. They wrote, he said, thank God your guards nipped the fire in bud. And when we go and do training, we go and train the people, including the ladies. I said, this is what the fire extinguisher is all about. You got to handle it like that. Handle one for yourself in my presence, and we'll encourage you. So, what is that? Pull the trigger and apply, squeeze, and sweep. So those things are being trained. So you give them awareness, give them comfort, and training, I feel, is all important. Compliance, training, response. And this is what good companies like ours take tremendous amount of pride on, and yet be cost competitive. So this is where it is, and that's why I said when you choose a private security agency, keep those aspects in mind. You will get good value for your money, and not only that, you'll have associates who will enhance your performance and your standing in the organization. We are your associates.
I also would like to add further to what you have said, though you have already covered the major portion. But let me assure you, uh, Colonel Malan and Colonel KK Singh, that as Shiv Khera has said, that successful people do not do different things. They do things differently. There are
Absolutely.
good organizations with the real professional security heads. They are bad. They are a small organization with bad security professionals. You have no entire range of good, bad, and ugly. But then, how successful security professionals of good organizations do things differently? In Gale, I am very proud that I was working in Gale. We never asked security service provider to train their personnel. Every month we organize security program in which service provider was invited to take few sessions, and we used to conduct training ourselves, because understanding that as part of compliance issue, security service provider may give the elementary training, but in organization like Gale, Maharatna company, we would like security guards, security team right up to our expectation and our standard, and we thought it our responsibility to train them, groom them, and bring to expected level. So this is how security chiefs, good security chiefs do. I do not take care, credit of creating this thing unique. It was part of organizational culture. It became part of our security environment and practice. Good agencies do it, good organizations also do it. So while training remains top priority, aiming that getting the best manpower remains a kind of challenge. It will remain with the kind of challenge to security chief, as long there are few unscrupulous agencies who would only get the certificate of training spending 500 rupees rather than sending their people for a week's training, 12 hours as specified by PSRA. But then, thanks for joining our discussion, and thanks for raising this question. So
Uh,
now, may I request
I'll
you
just
to
add one
take,
line to what you're saying. Just one word. You
please?
see, you as an organizational head were aware and you were doing it yourself. But look at us as a private security agency. We are catering to a very large number of clientele all across the country. They are multinational, they're industries. We have a experience which is very enriched. So we are also within, we can add a lot more based on experience that we have acquired for having been in this field. What are the various needs? What are the changing times? What are the current needs? And how, like earthquake. And that's why I said, check our training modules. What are the modules this organization has got? If I have something for bank and I tell you what is the ATM frauds, how the thing is to be maintained, how the uptime to be made available to the guard, he can do your first line maintenance. You know, he knows that yes, we know what we are talking about. We are going to be your associates firsthand. So I'm saying it is to be coordinated. If you have some ideas, most certainly, and because you are responsible, but you also, if you treat us as associates, we also bring a lot on the table in the form of our experience and expertise and our knowledge and our awareness of what is happening to various industries, even outside you. And topical topics are always included. If the floods come in, we say how to handle a flood situation. If there is a earthquake, how to handle, how to work during that. If the fire is taking place in a hospital, those messages go down to all our clients. This is what went wrong. This is what we need to do. This is the escape routes. Please have your security audit. Please have your safety thing. Please have your people trained onto this kind of a thing. We also said if you have a heart attack in your organization, do you have oxygen available to resuscitate him? If not, please put it. So we also, it's a question of if you treat us as associates, give us that respect that, okay, we are in it together, you're bound to gain a lot. And everybody gains because the organization, that's our job, yes, but we add a lot of value to it.
We are good into 1 hour of discussion. It has been
Thank
very
you.
useful, wonderful discussion, sir. And I'm sure our viewers are benefited by the points you made so easily understandable. Security challenges are what keeps security chiefs challenged. And as long dynamic security challenges are present in our society, challenges to CSO would keep changing. They also would remain very dynamic. Today it is learning new skills. Tomorrow it will be acquiring more courage. Maybe it will be question of ethics and honesty and integrity. But then basic qualities of CSOs, or for that matter, all the leaders would remain same. Colonel Naresh Malan, we in ICISS feel very immensely pleased and privileged and proud that we could listen to you and understand from you very important points which a security professional must acquire, understand, and practice to go higher in career. In council, we keep on organizing such discussions as of now almost on a weekly basis. All our viewers are requested to subscribe, make comment, subscribe, and wait for our next discussion. Coming Monday, we are going to have another discussion on very important subject by Brigadier Ahlawat. He is well known in security fraternity, and again, the discussion will be with him on another very important subject, and that subject is leadership challenges in hospitality industry. Because hospitality industry is full of paradoxes. You must secure, but you must not be visible. You must check, but you cannot touch, and all those things. So it is going to be very interesting discussion. Remain clued in, subscribe to the channel, and remain happy, healthy, and successful. Thank you very much for joining in.
Thank you very much, Captain Tyagi. Always a pleasure.